Good morning. There's the bell. What the heck is happening with my hair? Okay, so today, the Aztec. On your notes, we just did the Maya, okay, right here. And now we have the Aztec. Okie dokie. Sorry. All right. So here we go. So the Aztec are in this green thing, okay? When we looked at the Maya, they're right here. Right here. Okay? The Aztec are here. Look at the Aztec Empire compared to the Maya Empire. It's easy to look at it and be like, oh, it's bigger. No, I want you to do more looking. It's kind of weird shaped, isn't it? The Aztec have this, but they don't have this. That's weird. The Aztec have this, but they don't have this or this. That's weird. They have all this, but they don't have this. That's weird. Huh. And do you think, as close as the Maya and the Aztec are, do you think that they have some cultural sharing? Do you think that they trade with each other? The answer is yes. There's going to be a whole lot of things between the Aztec and the Maya that are not the same, but that are reminiscent of one another. Okay. Man, I'm sorry. I took a drink a minute ago and it like went down the wrong tube and I can still feel it like, anyway. Okay. So the Maya, no, the Aztec. We don't exactly know where the Aztec came from. They were up here somewhere roaming around. We know that. All right. We also know they are polytheistic. Who do you think their head god is? You said the sun god, you're right. Their kings are also priests, religious holy men. One of their kings / priests, when they were up here roaming around, everybody was like, oh, where are we going? And he was like, I don't know, let me ask the gods. So he asks the gods, hey, where are we going? And the gods say, you are looking for a very specific place. I'm about to sneeze. I feel like every time I get on a video, I suddenly have to sneeze. The god says, you're looking for a very specific thing. And you roam around until you find that very specific thing. I say, okay, what are we looking for? A cactus. We're in Mexico. Is there just one cactus hanging out? No, they're like everywhere. But it's a special cactus. On top of the cactus, I'm online. And I can't pause it. Bye. Sorry. I don't know why kids are just roaming the halls. Like, teachers, keep them in your class. Okay. So anyway, that's like the millionth time that's happened already, and it's only second period. Okay. So, Mexico. We're in Mexico area. There's a lot of cacti. So it's a little bit more specific than just a cactus. On top of the cactus, there has to be an eagle. Okay, well, that makes it a little bit harder. Like the eagle has to be like perched on top of the cactus, yeah? But he can't just be hanging out. He has to be eating having him a meal, a very specific meal, a snake. Basically, they're looking for this symbol. Cactus, eagle, snake. Yeah? Have you seen this before? Oh, looky there. The Mexican flag. It's giving like props to its Aztec background, its Aztec history. That is an Aztec symbol. Okay, go back and look. If you look at some of the other things on this symbol, okay, you have the eagle eating a snake on a cactus. True. But what's underneath the cactus? A chunk of land. Okay. What's underneath the chunk of land? Water? Huh. The Aztec roam, I kid you not, for like a couple hundred years. Looking for this symbol. Eventually they find it. Yay, woo! In the middle of a lake. What are y'all doing? I can't pause this and I'm on a video and you're like the millionth person who's come in. Go to class. Okay. So, anyway, they do finally find this, but they find it. There's this little tiny island in the middle of a small lake with a cactus and an eagle and a snake. And the Aztec are like, there it is. That's where we build our city. Yeah, but the city isn't going to be big enough for all of us. We got to build our city there. Yeah, but the city can't be big enough because the island isn't big enough. They say, no, we have to build it there because that is what the gods told us. So they do. Did I put it in your notes? What the heck? There we go. Okay, I did. I wasn't sure if I put the name of the city. Okay. Y'all, I speak German. I don't know like the Spanish alphabet and how it sounds. People like me just call this city Tenochtitlan, but whenever you say it like the right way, the pretty way, it's so cool. It's modern day Mexico City. Modern day Mexico City is on top of their Aztec capital city, Tenochtitlan. I wish I could say it right. Okay, I know y'all are laughing at me. It's okay. Have you ever been to Mexico City? Because I have. And man, I skied on the lake. Wow, that was a great lake. Y'all, there's no lake there. So what the heck? What happened to the lake? Well, I will tell you what happened to the lake. Check this out. What they did with the city is this. There's the little island. The city was built here. Yeah. And then they have like a causeway, a road, sort of, okay, that went to the mainland. Guys, they filled in the lake over time. They literally just dumped dirt in and dried up the lake. They did it so that they could build their city bigger and they could all live together. This is one of those things, technologically speaking, it's a really cool idea in the short term. But in the long term, like a few hundred years later, wouldn't Mexico City benefit greatly if that lake was still there? If they hadn't like dried it up a few hundred years ago? Yikes, man. But it makes for a really cool city. And the conquistadors, the Spaniards, when they get there, I can't skip it. I'm hitting the button. There we go. The conquistadors, whenever they get there, they describe the city, and it looks like this. In the center, you have this big temple complex right here, okay? Temple complex. So all of their temples and religious stuff right here. Then on the outskirts, you have kind of squishy ground because this right here was the actual island, this where the temple complex is. In fact, supposedly, this thing right here, this circular thing, is where the cactus was. Supposedly, this encircled the cactus to like keep it safe or whatever because it was holy, and the Spaniards destroyed it. But we'll get there. But anyway, that's supposedly what this is. What they did though is, like I said, they filled in the lake. And so this land here, it's not the actual island. It's kind of squishier, okay? But this is where people lived. And their roads were waterways, kind of like Venice, Italy, waterways, like water roads, okay? So it's really kind of cool. And the Spaniards were really impressed until they got a closer look at the temple complex. Then they were horrified. This is based on archaeology and Spanish writings, what we think the temple complex would have looked like. Okay. So, oh, it's kind of blurry when I do that. Sorry. But you have the huge double temple. Okay. Then you have this thing, which again supposedly encircles this cactus. And then all of these are smaller temples. Okay. Here's another picture, I think. Yes, I thought I had one of the big double temple right here. And then you have the cactus thing. The Aztec are a highly religious people. And they believed that the sun god needed blood in order to shine bright. See, every year, right around the same time every year, something happens to the sun god. And he starts getting dimmer. And he starts shining for less time. We understand it today as winter. They did not. They said, oh my gosh, he needs more blood. So the Aztec do human sacrifice on a pretty huge level. We looked at human sacrifice with the Maya. The Aztec take it farther. They do it up here. And this is a huge double temple for that reason. Okay. There's a lot of pictures because the Spaniards, when they got there, they were just horrified. It was so grotesque to them. But remember, for the Aztec, like this is holy. It's not like the Aztec are walking around like, ha, I get to kill people today. To them, it was religious. They had to do it or the sun god would stop shining. Well, if the sun god stopped shining, they stop existing. Uh-oh. So this right here is showing you kind of what they do. It's like the Maya in that they lay you back, they cut you open under your ribs, and they reach up and they get your heart. Okay. They will like slit wrists and ankles and all that kind of stuff to get as much blood out of you as possible. This is showing you another picture of it. Right here. Oh, and I guess I should tell you, he's offering the sun the heart. That's what that is. There we go. Here's another version. You see all these priests? We have a dead dude down here. This guy is being killed. The heart is being offered up to the sun god and it's being accepted. And look at all the blood on the side of the temple, too. They want to make sure the sun god has enough blood. So, what they did, son of a biscuit. Here we go. What they did is they would sacrifice you, right? And they'd offer the heart up. Quite often the priests would eat it. They would take it into themselves. So yum, right? But your blood is then kind of dropped down these smooth parts, not the steps right here, but the smooth parts of the temple. Now, guys, there's not enough blood in you to go all the way down, all right? But the top was bloodstained. And that was just absolutely horrifying to the Spaniards. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I was looking at. I got an email about checkout today. And I'm like, oh, I'm done. Okay. I want to go back this way. Do you remember the Maya sacrificing? The Maya do it kind of the same way. But the Maya, it was Mayan on Mayan sacrifice. Like they sacrificed themselves. Yeah. The Aztec don't. It's not Aztec people who are being sacrificed. This right here is that lake. This right here is their original city, Tenochtitlan. Okay. They take over all of this because what they're doing is they're sacrificing neighboring tribes. The Aztec were incredibly warlike people, but they're incredibly warlike because they feel like they need all of those people to be able to sacrifice to the sun god. So whenever they go to war with tribes, they take a ton of prisoners, more prisoners than you would normally expect. Like they try to not kill everybody in warfare because they want prisoners. The prisoners are then sacrificed to the gods. That means the Aztec take over this outlying land because it belongs to them now. The whole tribe is gone. So why didn't they take this yet? You think maybe a tribe lives there? Or maybe another tribe here that they haven't conquered, or maybe another tribe here or here? Yeah. Now, we don't know why they haven't conquered them. Maybe they were too fierce and they couldn't. But the Aztec are pretty fierce warriors. This close to the capital city, I guarantee this is a trade alliance. This is an alliance. Maybe they had an alliance with these people. Maybe they had an alliance. I don't know if it's an alliance or they're just too strong for the Aztec. Except this one, I'm telling you, it's too close. That had to be an alliance. But that's why they're so warlike. The Aztec, everybody's like, yeah, they're warriors and they do human sacrifice. Okay, but why? It has to do with their religion. They really believed that if they don't do this, the sun will stop shining. That gives them no warmth. That gives them no ability for crops to grow. It destroys everything, their whole way of life. Is that a problem? Yeah, it is. There's another god. His name is interesting. It looks like Quet, but it's not. It's Ket. Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl is a serpent, but he's like, what's the word? Feathers. He's like a feather serpent. He's not like a snake, like reptile serpent. He's feathers. He's got feathers everywhere. And like whenever you see him in like some artwork, he's all multicolored feathers. Yeah. But oddly enough, they called him the Great White God because his skin was said to be lighter than everybody else's. I know when you look at this picture, you're like, it doesn't look like white skin. I know, whatever, just go with it. But he was said to have lighter skin than the other gods. He was said to have lighter eyes and lighter hair. Okay, but this is him kind of humanistic form. Quetzalcoatl, according to their religion, came down to speak to the Aztec. And he said, listen here, you guys are not giving enough blood to the sun. You are not providing enough. That means the sun's about to die. He said, I'm mad at y'all. I've told y'all that y'all need to be giving more blood before, and you haven't done it. So here's what I'm going to do. Ooh, let me do this. He says, here's what I'm going to do. Okay, we're here. Here, yes. He says, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave. And I'm going to start walking west. He's a god. He can walk on water if he wants to. He says, I'm going to walk around the entire earth. Okay, stop. What does this religious story tell us that the Aztec know about the world? Just got another school email. He's going to walk around the world. Guys, people didn't believe that the earth was flat back then. Your whole Columbus story, people thought he was going to sail off the side of the world. It's not true, and I wish elementary teachers would stop teaching kids that because it's not historically accurate. There's a reason Columbus wasn't allowed to sail west, and we'll get there real soon. But it has nothing to do with the world being flat. The Aztec know the world is round just like everybody else. I'll get there later. But Quetzalcoatl says, I'm leaving. I'm walking around the entire world. I don't know how long it'll take. I'll come back one day, or I'll send a servant back. That might be smarter. I'll send a servant. When I come back, I'll come back from the east because he's walking around the world. So if he goes this way, he's going to come back from this way. He said, so be watching from the east. Yeah. And one of two things is going to happen. When I come back, if you are giving enough blood to the sun god, you will get riches like you wouldn't believe. You will be greatly rewarded. If you are not giving enough blood, terrible plagues will happen. Horrible punishments will occur. Do you also see why the Aztec sacrificed so many? The numbers of Aztec sacrifices are huge. I don't remember. I used to know the number. Yeah, exaggerations. This is what I was looking for a year. 20,000 roughly. You know, I was thinking about a fourth of Midland. Yeah. That's a lot of people, guys. But see, they're doing this because their religion prompts them to. Yeah? Fast forward. It's the 1500s. The Aztec are doing their thing, yeah? And there's some Aztec dudes on the beach, I don't know, collecting seashells or something. And they see in the distance, way far in the distance, boats. Guys, they know what boats are. They have boats. They don't have the giant Spanish ships like Spain has. But they have boats. So they know what a boat is. But they're like, wow, those are huge. And then they see the sails. White sails. Quetzalcoatl is the great white god. And they see on the sails a red thing. They don't know what a cross is. It's a cross. They don't know what a cross is, but they see a red thing and they're like, blood? White sails? When the ships get here, they see the Spaniards getting off the ships. They see weird beasts that they've never seen. They see Spaniards shining white in the sun. They see Spaniards pull out something that shines in the sun. Guys, in the desert sun, their armor and their swords are like shining. Then they see some of the men take their helmets off, and they don't see the same color of hair that they have. It is a big misconception to think that Spaniards are all dark hair, dark eyes, dark skin. Probably the most famous Spaniard that you know is Puss in Boots. Antonio Banderas. He's also Spy Kids. Zorro. Oh, my head's on top. I'm trying to think of other stuff he's in. He's been in a ton of things. But Antonio Banderas, he's from Spain, okay? And he does have that like typical Spanish look that you'd expect. He's from South Spain. Dark hair, dark eyes, dark skin. But every Spaniard doesn't look that way. I'm trying to think of some of my Spanish soccer players. I can't think of any of them. There's good spelling. There he is. I was like, crap, how do I spell it? Chabi, that's right. Um, this is a Spanish soccer player. You're like, no, he plays for Bayern. He's Spanish. Oh, I can't make that bigger. He's a redhead. Um, Isabella of Spain. Oh, here we go. Blonde, pale skin. There's a famous painting of her. Here we go. With her husband Ferdinand. It's not a very bright painting, is it? Ugh. I mean, I guess that'll do. There's a brighter one. It's the same painting, but it's like more vibrant with color. They're both redheads. Oh my gosh, can it go any slower? I bet it could. Okay. They're Spanish. They're not coming from somewhere else. Both of them are Spanish. He's the king of Aragon. She's the queen of Castile. Two Spanish kingdoms that are going to create Spain. And they're both redheads. The farther north you went in Spain, lighter hair, lighter eyes. The Aztecs see all of this and they're like, Quetzalcoatl's back. We need to go get our king. In charge of the Spanish is this guy, Cortez. Oh, most of the time it's with an S. You will see his name spelled with a Z sometimes, but the correct Spanish way is an S. In Spain, it's spelled with an S at the end. Mexico is spelled with a Z at the end, but whatever, who cares? Okay. Hernan Cortez. Hernan Cortez shows up. He's the leader of the Spaniards, yeah? And the Aztec go to get their king. This is Cortez. He's a Spaniard. What do you see? Hint, hint. He's got blue eyes. His hair is brown, but it's a light brown. He doesn't have that Mediterranean, dark, southern Spain skin. It's farther north. He's lighter than the Aztec. And the Aztecs see him in charge and they're like, whoa, this has to be Quetzalcoatl, or he has sent servants to us. So again, they get their king, Montezuma. Can you imagine that meeting for a second? Cortez and Montezuma meeting. Sorry. Cortez does not know Montezuma's language. Montezuma does not know Cortez's language. Guys, they've never seen horses. The Spaniards are who bring horses to the Americas. So there's these big beasts, there's these giant ships. They've never seen armor, they've never seen swords. They don't understand what's happening. But Montezuma kneels to Cortez. Well, that tells Cortez, oh, I have the authority here. Okay. Montezuma's like, Cortez is like, they want us to follow. Montezuma takes them to Tenochtitlan, the capital city. And Cortez is blown away. He is so impressed. So impressed. In my AP class, we like read some of his letters to Spain. about Tenochtitlan, and he's so blown away. He thinks it is awesome, it is impressive. But see, Montezuma takes him to the temple complex because he thinks that he wants to see how much blood they've been spilling for the sun god. He takes him to the temple complex, and Cortez sees sacrifice. And Cortez sees the dried blood on top of the ziggurat-style pyramids. And Cortez and the Spaniards are like, oh, these are evil people. Are they evil? Or do they just have a religious belief that the Spaniards don't understand? Montezuma is not stupid. He is fully aware that Cortez is looking at him like, not okay, bro. So Montezuma takes him somewhere else. He takes Cortez to the treasury. Poor Montezuma. The treasury is where the money is kept. It's where the gold is kept. It's where all the jewels and the riches. He opens the doors. Cortez is like, for me? And Montezuma's like, Cortez tells his men, load it up fast. They start loading up all of the treasure. Yeah? Then something starts happening to the Aztec. They start getting sick. There will be battles fought. But the biggest downfall of the Native Americans are diseases that the Europeans don't even know that they're bringing with them. They don't know. They don't even realize. They're like, well, I had smallpox when I was a kid, but I lived. But the Aztec are dying left and right from smallpox. Supposedly, the Aztec had never had the flu before. The flu. Like to us, it's like, flu season, whatever. I'm okay. Got this. But they're dying left and right. People think that Quetzalcoatl is mad at them. We weren't sacrificing enough. This is our punishment. But eventually Montezuma's like, no, something's not right. Because we have been sacrificing like little beasts. Eventually Montezuma's like, get out. You got to leave. Go. Just go away because you're destroying everything. Cortez will take Montezuma, like basically kidnap him, take him prisoner. Well, that ticks off the Aztec and that starts like a little war. Look at the difference here in armor. Think about the difference in weaponry. Spears versus swords and guns now. We're in the 1500s. Europe has guns now. Now, they're crappy guns that backfire every other time you shoot it, but whatever. The Aztec lose big time. Montezuma ends up dead. Cortez takes control. A lot of Aztec get killed. A lot of Aztec are still dying from disease and all that kind of stuff. And eventually Cortez gets on his happy little boat and he sails back to Spain to be rich. They claim the land for Spain. Is it Spain's land to claim? But they claim the land for Spain. And Cortez leaves some people there to take care of things. Well, some of the people that he leaves there start looking at some of the pretty Aztec women. And they start making friends with some of the nicer Aztec men. They start learning Aztec customs. They start sharing language and cultural ideas. They start Christianizing. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. Hey, by the way, in the war, Cortez destroyed the temple complex. They took the temple down, like almost brick by brick. They destroyed everything, supposedly the cactus, everything. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that. But anyway, after Cortez leaves, some of his men start making nice with some of the Aztec. And some of the men actually start relationships with the Aztec women. Guys, it's not all rape and pillage. Were there some jerks that probably raped some of the women? Duh, yeah. But it's not all rape and pillage. Some of the actual some of the Spanish men actually do basically marry them, some of the Aztec women. And now you have a mixed child, half Aztec, half Spanish. That means half Native American, half European. Look at something. If you are half Native American and half European, oh, sorry, you are a mestizo. Sometimes you'll see it like this, mestizo. The S and the Z can get flip flopped, so it just depends on how you see it. Sometimes this, sometimes this. Half Aztec, half European, or it could be half Mayan, half European, half Olmec, half Toltec, half Native American. Over time, people start calling this the land of the mestizo. Mestizoland. Mestizoland. Over time, Mestizoland. The word Mexico comes from the word mestizo. So, just FYI, if you are actually Mexican, not just any Latin American, it's specific, but if you are Mexican, okay, then you're probably half European, Spanish. Well, not half anymore, but whatever. And then half whatever the Native American tribe is. It might have been the Aztec, it might have been the Maya, it might have been the Toltec, the Olmec, it could have been any of them. But that's where the word Mexico comes from, is because eventually the Spaniards and the Native Americans, eventually they are going to mix. Mestizo, half and half. Mexico, land of the mestizo. Yeah? So, that's it. The Aztec, done and done. All right, tomorrow or whatever, the Inca. Okay? Bye. Oh, I guess I should hit pause wherever it is. I'll find it. What the heck? I can't find stop. There it is. Stop.